Welcome into another edition of Fourth Quarter Clutch. Today we're not doing hot topics because there's only one hot topic right now, and that's the NCAA Championship game tomorrow between everyone's championship matchup, UConn and Kentucky, right? No, I didn't have that. Brian, did you
That's
have that?
hotter than anything else. What?
That's why it's in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas.
That's right.
Uh, so it's a 7 seed versus an 8 seed, first time ever in March Madness
Bracket
history.
Buster!
Oh, everyone's bracket is destroyed.
There is no way
Just
that you called that. Don't try to claim that you did.
I
You're a
think
liar.
I could see people that called Kentucky, but UConn, I think they were mostly homers that called it.
I totally agree with that.
So obviously the big thing with Kentucky is the freshmen and the sophomores that they start. They have a lot of underclassmen, and
Yep.
UConn going into the tournament, a lot of people probably thought it was Shabazz Napier and a bunch of scrubs. Well, it turns out they
Mm-hmm.
have some other good guys like DeAndre Daniels and Ryan Boatwright, and of course, if we're talking players, we're gonna be talking game changers. Brian, do you have a game changer for tomorrow's? Actually, I should say Monday's big game.
Yeah. I got one for each team basically. For Kentucky, game changer. I got rebounds because huge deal for Kentucky. All season they've been a big time rebounding team for the season. 41.2 per game, and they're still hovering around that 40 rebounds a game basically. So I mean, that pretty much says it all. They're for the season they're ranked fifth overall for rebounds per game, so that's pretty boss. They pretty much got that going on. So as long as they rebound real well, as long as they keep second chance points down, second chance opportunities down for UConn, they're looking really good. For UConn, I've got three point percentage. Yeah, shooting from the field, they got 4 out of their 5 starters are shooting over 40%, and this tournament they've continued that. Basically, the big thing for me, I mean, Kentucky has been shooting well from 3-point percentage too for this tournament, but that wasn't something that they had the entire season. Whereas UConn was holding that the entire season, they've been consistently hitting that. So that's why it's a game changer for me, because it's not like they went out and just had a good day or something. It's like it's consistently the same every single game. That's why it's a game changer to me. So whoever, either UConn getting those second chance opportunities, or they get shut down, or UConn hitting those 3 points, or Kentucky shutting that down. I mean, that's what game changer for each team. That's why I got that.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
So Noah, what do you think is biggest strengths for these two teams?
Biggest strength. For UConn, I would say they have more experience than Kentucky does for sure. Kentucky is made up of a lot of freshmen and sophomores, very few upperclassmen. But of course, you have John Calipari that has experience in Final Fours and championship games. So I guess it kind of evens it out, but it's also scary, the lack of experience. Um, for UConn, biggest weakness, I would say, um, is that Shabazz Napier, as much of a playmaker as he is, if you can shut down Shabazz Napier, UConn is in a lot of trouble. I mean, they do have other good players, but outside of Shabazz Napier, there is not one guy that could carry this team to a championship win.
Totally agree.
And for Kentucky, uh, I would say their biggest weakness would be themselves because
Hmm.
they have been doubted and all that kind of stuff, and Kentucky will be probably not everyone's pick to win because of how they're made up, and people don't like the whole one and done thing. So if they start getting beat up pretty bad against UConn, there'll be a lot of people booing against them, being like, "Oh, look, it's just a bunch of freshmen. They don't care. They just want to,"
Hmm.
or a bunch of sophomores. They just want to look forward to the NBA, and it's all going to be a psychology, mental game with them.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting. I mean, it's a really interesting matchup because it's the two lowest seeded teams that have ever met in the championship game ever. So that to me actually shows a little bit of reflection on the seeding, and partially it has to do with how awesome March Madness is. For me, I think Kentucky was grossly underseeded. I thought they should have been closer to like a 4 or 5 seed. Probably a 5 seed is what I had them at. UConn, I think seven's close. Maybe a 5 or a 6, but I mean seven's a little bit closer. But Kentucky was way underseeded, and that basically put them in a better situation too, because they ended up with the weakest number 1 seed in the country there, Wichita State, and that actually gave them a lot of momentum.
The previous lowest seeding matchup for a championship game was when UConn was a 3 seed and they beat Butler, which was an 8 seed. So that combines to 11. And this year
Mm,
it's 15.
that's pretty crazy. So no, what are your matchup? What's your matchup to watch? Like your one big matchup to watch?
You know, I could be like everyone else and say, oh, it's Aaron Harrison versus Shabazz Napier because they're both great guards. But it's not always guards that makes it the great matchup. It's sometimes the big men. And both teams have pretty good big men. UConn has DeAndre Daniels. DeAndre Daniels is 6'9", 195 pounds. He was a big reason why they beat Florida. He had 20 and 10. And the guy also had uh, he's had really good performances just throughout the tournament. 27 and 10 against Iowa State, 12 and 8 against Michigan State. Uh, he had 18 and 4 against St. Joe's, and the guy is a really, really good post player, and he could be giving my other player for this matchup a lot of trouble, and that is Julius Randle. Julius Randle, obviously, a lot of people know of. He's probably going to go to the
Yeah,
NBA after this year. He's 6'9", 250. He's a freshman, and he's only had one game this tournament where he
tree
didn't.
trunk.
Oh man,
Jeez.
he is so dominant on the big block, on the low block. Every time I watch him play, they're always saying he does a big boy move. He does a man's move. Every time in the paint, it's just unbelievable what the guy can do. But he's in the 5 games that they've had this tournament. He's only had one game where he failed to average a double double, and that was against Wisconsin. He had 16 and 5, and it's not exactly his
Mm.
fault. Frank Kaminsky from Wisconsin knows how to rebound, and he gave Julius Randle some trouble on the boards. But every other game, 19 and 15, 13 and 10, 15 and 12, 16 and 11, and he can block as well. And honestly, whoever wins that matchup, I think it doesn't even matter what happens, Napier versus Harrison. That's going to be your winner in this
Mm.
game. Whoever does better.
Interesting. One matchup to call it all.
I'm going
So
with that matchup.
yeah. So who you got then? What's your prediction?
As tempting as it is to go with the freshman, I am thinking they will fall short just like the Michigan Fab Five did, and UConn led by Shabazz Napier. It'll be like Kemba Walker all over again, where you have one really good player have a dominant performance and lead them
Mm.
to that uh, glorious championship.
Yeah, I didn't want to agree with you on this one, just because I wanted to actually say that Kentucky would have like a good deal here, but I mean honestly I gotta go. I like the rebounding that Kentucky's got. I really do. I like consistency stats for sure. Especially free throw percentage. They're really solid. Both teams are actually really solid in the free throw percentage, but I believe UConn's slightly higher actually. And for me, scoring with that 3 point percentage that they got, I just don't see Kentucky stopping that. I mean, shooting from the field is one of the main things that is just it's not like you can body them out of the shot or something. You can't. You just can't, like underneath the basket or something. So for me, I got to go with the consistent scoring stats. And for me, that's UConn. Um, both teams are pretty even there in their bracket schedule that they had to face. So I gotta go with, especially the team that just took down Florida. Huge win there. they're on the road. They're on a high track right now, and I gotta say, UConn with that scoring, they're gonna be unstoppable.
And the big thing also with this matchup is it's not even necessarily with the game itself. It's that before the tournament even actually during the SEC tournament there was a guy that tattooed 2014 NCAA national champions for Kentucky on his leg. So it's like the whole Seattle Seahawks thing again, where if Kentucky wins it all, you look like a genius, and the odds were tremendously against both teams. It was, I think, 60-1 odds for Kentucky and like 101 odds for UConn winning it all. So if someone was making a friendly wager with one of these two teams winning,
They're
they
an
might
idiot.
they're a genius and an idiot at the same time.
Well, sometimes there's a fine line there. There's a fine line. But I do have to say, what is it with this like fad thing of getting yourself tattooed with the team that you think is going to win? You know, you're it's the dumbest thing you can do. Come on. Like if they lose, you then have to remove it and it still shows up a little bit. Okay? Like just don't do it. Just do me a favor, do us all a favor, and just don't do it. Please.
Or if you're gonna get the tattoo, at least make it somewhere not visible so you don't look really stupid. Like get it on the bottom of your foot. No one ever will see it. And you could lift it up and be like, "Look, I'm right." And if you're wrong, you could be like, "Oh, well, nothing happened. There's nothing to say."
Smartest thing you can do, leave out the name of the team. Just period. Add it later. Just add it later.
If only everyone thought like that.
Yeah, because I mean, then if your team wins, you could be like, "Yeah, I got a tattoo of my team. You know, awesome." Of course, you didn't get it before they won, but so what? You're not an idiot with who had to have it removed.
Oh, not at all. That's actually the best
So,
way around it.
yeah, you can still get a tattoo. You can still remove it without looking like an idiot. And, you know, you got your tattoo of your favorite team. Do it that way instead. I'm a problem solver. It's what I do.
If only everyone thought like that.
Think it through, people. Think it through. That's
Oh,
what
of
we're here to
course.
do. That's what we're here for this matchup about. We've been thinking it through, so you don't have to. Cool. That's gonna do it for us for this edition, fourth quarter clutch. Check, continue to follow us on Twitter at fourthqc. You know, continue to hit us up with that. Actually, if you want to, send us some suggestions for some stories that you guys are interested in, things that you want to hear about. Just tweet us at fourthqc. Put it right there at the bottom for you. Sweet. And check out the game tomorrow night.
And also, we will have some NFL draft sleeper articles coming up soon.